So what's going on, guys? Hope you guys are having a great day. Hey, I know that each one of us have gone through seasons of life that we don't understand fully. Maybe it's that maybe that we're in a season of life that we wish that we would have moved on from by now, or maybe there was a heartbreak that happened, or maybe there was something going on at work or with a family member that we just don't fully understand why this is happening. And we're asking God, why am I still here? Maybe you've been there before. Maybe you're in there. Maybe you're in a season right now where that's where you feel. And I think God gave me something today that I hope is encouraging to all of you. It's certainly encouraging to me. I was listening to How Deep the Father's Love, the old hymn. And the lyrics are, "Behold the man upon a cross, my sin upon his shoulders. Ashamed, I hear my mocking voice call out among the scoffers. It was my sin that held him there until it was accomplished. His dying breath has brought me life. I know that it is finished." And I think the first part that stuck out to me was, "Ashamed, I hear my mocking voice call out among the scoffers." And I've heard it said a lot of times that we as Christians would have been there mocking him with everyone else. And I don't think that part is true for me. I don't think I would be there with the mockers and the scoffers with Jesus. I think I would have been confused. I think I would have been furious. I think I'd be devastated. Somehow all of those emotions happening at the same time. But I don't think I would be one of the scoffers. However, one part that I absolutely do understand is that it was my sin that held him there until it was accomplished. It is true that all of their sin and all of my sin is what held him there. I don't think I would have been one of the scoffers. I don't think I would have wanted him to go there. None of the disciples wanted him to go. None of his family members, none of them wanted him to go to the cross. But in Jesus' unbelievably deep love for us, he went to the cross against our wishes, knowing that he had to go to the cross in order to save us from the sin that we'd committed, that it was only him that could do that. Think about the evil, how evil we are, that it took the death of Jesus to save us. And so my wishes would have been, no, 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 don't go. Don't go. But Jesus, in his deep love and understanding, knew, now I'm not going to do what they want because I have to ultimately save them from what they don't want. And the only way to save us from what we didn't want is for us to also experience Jesus dying, which was something that we also didn't want. We don't fully understand the sin. We don't fully understand our lives. We don't understand God's plan. Maybe if we did understand, that one of the sickening ideas is that maybe if I did understand the depth of my sin, maybe if I did understand that it would require Jesus to save me from hell, maybe if I had a full understanding of my sin, maybe then I would have been there. Maybe not as a scoffer, but as someone encouraging Jesus to go to the cross because I knew what it would cost me if he didn't. And so we don't understand our depth of our need for Jesus. We don't understand it. So Jesus did what we wouldn't have wanted him to do so that he could save us from what we wouldn't have wanted to receive. And we don't understand in the moment. We don't understand. None of the disciples understood in the moment. We can see looking back 2,000 years. We can see looking back 2,000 years what the point of all of it was. But the disciples in the moment, all they see is their best friend, their leader, their mentor, their everything is going to the cross and dying, getting crucified by these malefactors. They don't understand. They're thinking it must be a mistake. Because all they had was little faint hints of prophecy in the Old Testament to look to, and maybe this is Jesus, maybe it's not. I mean, none of them even fully believed that Jesus was the Messiah until his resurrection. And I think that probably would have been me too. So we have the benefit of looking back and seeing the purpose of all of that. But sometimes in the moment in your life today, you can't see what God is doing. All you want to do is it be somewhere else. All you want to do is move on from this and go a different direction. But there are things that God, if he did it the way you wanted it, if God did what we wanted, he wouldn't have died on the cross because none of us would have wanted him to go to the cross. It would be too heartbreaking for us to send him. I mean, imagine sending your best friend to the cross. Would you ever volunteer to do that? No, you wouldn't. But in that, Jesus was willing to do what he was willing to be criticized and misunderstood by everyone so that ultimately he could save their lives for eternity. And so there are things in your life right now that you do not understand, that you wish were different, that you're saying, God, why is this happening this way? Why are you doing it this way? But you don't understand. You don't understand. And that's why there are things in our lives that are always going to be out of shape because we don't get it. Isaiah 55, 8 and 9. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts higher than your thoughts. And so God is calling us to trust Him in the midst of things that we don't like today, with the faith that He is always working things together for the good of those who love Him and are called according to His purpose, as said in Romans 8:28. There are things in your life right now that you wish were different, but there are also things 2,000 years ago that Jesus did, even though no one wanted Him to do it, because He knew ultimately what was coming in the end. And there are things that you cannot see, that you do not understand, that when you look back, everything's 2020 in the rearview mirror. And a perfect example of this is Jesus in John 13:7, after being asked by Peter, what are you doing? When he's about to wash his feet. Peter said, why are you doing this? Are you about to wash my feet? And Jesus replies, you do not realize now what I am doing, but later you will understand. Later you'll understand. Everything makes sense in the rear view. 5 years, 10 years down the road, you might understand what God is doing right now. But there are things that are happening right now that you're begging God to change, and God's saying you don't understand. And so I think sometimes there are times where we have to step back and stop asking God to change things in our lives and start asking God, God, give me the faith to obey you and trust you. Not even to see the plans. I'm not saying ask God to show us the plans, because that's not how it works either. His ways are higher than our thoughts. His ways are higher than our ways. His thoughts are higher than our thoughts. We can't understand. He can't explain stuff to a feeble brain like me. I just have to press in and say, okay, God, I don't understand this now. I don't understand, but I know that there are things that you've done throughout history that when we look back on, they make perfect sense. And so I'm going to trust you that there are things in my life right now that I cannot understand right now and do not make sense. And hopefully in 1 year from now, they make sense. 5 years, 10 years. Hopefully we get to make sense of them at some point before heaven, and maybe not. But there are things that are happening in your life right now that you are not trusting God with because you do not understand. And it's all right not to understand, but it isn't all right to question God. And so maybe this is a time to get in prayer and say, okay, God, I'm sorry that I haven't trusted you with this. I'm sorry that I've not acknowledged you in this. I'm sorry that I've not acknowledged that I'm not the center of all of this. We're not the center of all of this. He's the center. He's the center of it all. And I hope this encourages you that there are things going on in your life that you don't understand, that God is working together. All things work together for the good of those who love Him and are called according to His purpose. And so I hope tonight you guys will get alone with God and spend some time just asking Him to give you the faith to trust Him, to give you the faith to believe that He is good and that He loves you and that all of this is working together for your good. Man, good talking with you guys. Hope you guys are blessed by this, and I hope you have a great rest of the night.